Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Northeast. The Northeast has gotten slammed by flooding, probably some of the worst flooding they have ever seen in well over a decade. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video from CNN, and then I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
Right now, more than 25 million people across the Northeast are bracing for more flooding after a powerful storm drenched New York with staggering amounts of rain and deadly flash floods. Just north of New York City, parts of the Hudson Valley saw once in a millennium levels of rainfall. This was the scene in Highland Falls, New York, where a woman was reportedly swept away by raging floodwaters and drowned while trying to evacuate her home with her dog. This powerful storm is now bearing down on New England as it slowly pushes north. Pula Sandoval is live for us on the ground in Rockland County, New York. Pula, you're near one of the hardest hit areas. What have you seen throughout the course of the morning?
Well, finally, a bit of a break in the clouds here, Phil. But overnight, some truly stunning pictures and videos that have emerged from not just here in Rockland County, but neighboring Orange County, which we can't really take you there to because of the roadblock that you'll see here over my shoulder. I'm in touch with Orange County officials who tell me that overnight it really was a just completely chaotic situation with swift water rescues happening, parts of roads being essentially swept away. And so today they are basically reassessing the situation. One of the hardest hit areas that you mentioned there, the town of Highlands, where Orange County officials tell me, unfortunately, one woman, a young woman who was in the process of evacuating her home with her pet, lost her footing in floodwaters, swept away into a ravine, and sadly did not survive yesterday. There is perhaps a glimmer of hope here, as officials saying that all the rest of the residents seem to be accounted for. So Orange County officials do not expect the need for any further rescues, though we will certainly have to see throughout the course of the day. The huge issue right now, though, for a majority of folks here, and all you have to do is look behind me, is going to be travel trouble, I should say. This interstate parkway, you see traffic backed up for as far as the eye can see. Officials are going to continue to keep that blocked off until they can determine that it's actually safe to actually travel through the Hudson River Valley, which is a very short drive from New York City. So that really is the extent of the impact. Is still some 25 million Americans are still under some form of flood alerts. This time, though, north of New York State.
Many of you might have heard all of the flooding in the Northeast. Over 25 million people impacted. And I remember when that rain came. Now, where I am, we kind of dodged a bullet on it, but man, it went way more north of us and they got clobbered. They did. I mean, they're calling on states of emergency. It's really bad. And to make matters worse, there are heavy storms coming this weekend in these same areas. Catastrophic flooding swamped Vermont, and some of the pictures that you're looking at are New York. So, Vermont's capital, as intense storms forced evacuations, rescues, and closures in the Northeast. So, intense rainstorms that inundated the Northeast turned streets into rivers, forced evacuation, prompt officials in Vermont capital to close the downtown area. Make no mistake, the devastation and flooding we're experiencing across Vermont is historic and catastrophic. This is what the governor, Phil Scott, said to reporters. Floodwaters in some areas surpass levels seen during Tropical Storm Irene, the governor said. Irene hit the United States as a hurricane in August 2011. I remember that. I remember that. And the entire community was submerged, killing more than 40 people in several eastern states. The current flooding has claimed thousands of homes and businesses, Scott added. So the authorities issued a travel ban that lasted through Tuesday afternoon. A boiled water notice remains in place for the city after officials warned the extreme flooding could contaminate the drinking water supply. The city was hammered with 5.28 inches of rainfall Monday, The National Weather Service in Burlington, Vermont, that's more than any other day on record, including Irene, which dropped 5.27 inches of rain on the state capitol in August 28th, 2011. Irene was about a 12-hour duration and then it was over. The governor said, "This is different. We've had like 48 hours of steady rain. Adding more rain is expected in the coming days." Yes, and it's going to be more heavy rain. So, Vermont remains under a state of emergency with water in downtown areas running from the knee to the waist deep. Residents stranded in their homes and businesses, roads closed. The flooding forced evacuations and more than 100 rescues in the state. One of the search and rescue teams has been struck with heavy flooding in areas, and they said the North Branch of the National Guard, they had to come in. They're using 5 National Guard helicopters to continue to assist. In many areas, the water continuously remain dangerously high, and some areas they're saying is even too dangerous for boats. This is according to the Public Safety Commissioner, Jennifer Morrison. President Joe Biden spoke with Scott and other officials about flooding, the White House said Tuesday, adding it is coordinating with the state and local officials and monitoring the flood impacts. New Hampshire will send swift boat rescue crews and a Black Hawk. They're sending Black Hawk helicopters to assist with the response to the flooding in Vermont. Governor Chris Sununu said teams from Connecticut, Massachusetts, and North Carolina are currently in Vermont to provide assistance and other en route. So other departments in different states are en route to Vermont to help. There are life-threatening isolations that we are trying to identify and rescue, Morrison said. So they right now got the police department, the fire department, EMS, they're all out there along with assistance from other states. So the police were monitoring the Wrightsville Dam as water levels earlier Tuesday inched towards the dam spillway. By afternoon, police said the water levels showed no significant change and they would continue to monitor the dam. So, they said 2 million people across parts of New England and Oklahoma, they are dealing with this and they're still under a flood warning. Bodies of 2 children were recovered in Oklahoma City after authorities said they were swept up Monday evening by strong currents following heavy rainfall in the city. The children were 10 and 11 years old. And you know what they were doing during the heavy rainstorm? They said they were out fishing in an area. Wow. Why? In heavy rain? So, strong water currents pulled the 2 boys under, while the other 2 were able to reach safety. They got on a concrete ledge. This is according to the Oklahoma City Fire Department. After the rain lessens in Vermont, Scott cautioned against a false sense of complicity and the water has to go somewhat. The reservoirs are filling up, and we have to determine the next phase, the next wave, he said. One thing I can honestly tell you, the natives would not live anywhere in the country. There were certain areas they avoid living in because of the natural disasters. And see, when these folks came into the land, they just start building any and everywhere when they start colonizing in the land. And I really believe some of these areas were never meant for people to be in. And now you got your homes and everything there, and those natural disasters are kicking your behind. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.